Today's video is sponsored by pixel art. For all you art enthusiasts, dive into pixel art, the ultimate platform for artists eager to showcase your masterpieces. Pixel art is a free web-based pixel art creation platform, and their latest mobile app update is now live and ready to enhance your artistic journey. During these past several months, if not the entire year, you'd be hard-pressed to have not run into at least one video from some Minecraft YouTuber pondering whether Minecraft is fun anymore. Some trying to give an explanation as to why they have lost interest in the game, and others try to explain how to have fun again. Now, I think that ultimately, no one game will ever be so good that you'll be able to have endless hours of fun on it every day or week till the day you die. But I have found these videos fascinating since I have been playing the game Terraria for some 10 years and still find myself enjoying it as much now as I did when I first started. And since the two games have had a long history of being compared to each other, including by people like me, I thought I'd do a little introspection and try to figure out how I've continued to love this game after 10 whole years of playing. After some thought, I've come up with one main reason why I still love the game, and I think it'll help you continue to love the game for as long as I have. But before we get to that, I first want to touch upon several smaller reasons for my continued enjoyment, as well as reasons other people have given for why they continue to enjoy the game. Let's begin. First, there are the updates. Terraria has had several large updates over the years, and after each one, the game's creators, Relogic, say that it'll be the final update. It has become a recurring joke in the community that every update will be the last one, but then the next update will be announced not long after. This rather silly and repeated occurrence has led me and perhaps many other fans to spend our time anticipating a new update that has never been promised to us. And did you know that anticipation of a thing is most often better than the thing itself? So while I pluck away on Terraria's final update, I do so anticipating a future update that'll make things even better, because that's all Terraria's updates have ever done, make the game better. While Minecraft is left in controversy after every update, the Terraria community is pretty universally happy with every update that has come out. Maybe people will point out a small change here or there that sucks, but they are usually just that, small details. Maybe a single weapon's rebalancing. This means that I have never had to swim through the mire of controversy as I try to enjoy my favorite game, and it also means I've never been disappointed with an update. After each final update, I would have said that the game is complete and there's no need for anything else, and that every update after that has just been an extra cherry on top. But now, that little ice cream cone stacked with cherries has become an entire ice cream parlor, and I'm all the more happy for it. I still remember as a kid dreaming up of all kinds of ideas for what Terraria could add in the future, and I even wrote it all down in some sort of journal somewhere, which I threw away years ago, and that sucks. But the thing is, almost everything I wrote down has already been added. I had written down the bubble gun as a weapon because I thought it was funny, and now the bubble gun is in the game and has been in for a while, and it was one of my favorite weapons for a long time. The game fulfilled so many of my dreams as a kid, and every update felt as though it had been ripped straight from my brain and pasted into the game. But you might be about to say, well then, you will only enjoy the game because of nostalgia and eventually that'll wear off, or maybe when they finally stop updating the game, then you'll slowly start to lose interest. And maybe you're right, but as I mentioned at the start, I think it's inevitable that we'll lose interest in every game we've ever enjoyed at some point. I'm just looking at why my love for Terraria has been so durable over the years and why I still love it with no end in sight. Besides that, the creators have once again said that the next update will be the final one, and although I believe them this time, there's still that kernel of doubt in my brain that's salivating over the idea of another new update. But if it doesn't come, I still have that ice cream parlor I mentioned. I never needed another update. I'm happy with what I have. Adding more makes it more delicious, but is far from necessary. Heck, Relogic has already added almost all the ideas I've ever had for the game, and now I'm running out of ideas for things I'd even want. It's perfect how it is, and I'd be happy to see the team let it go and let it be what it is. But if they do add more, awesome. I know I'll be happy with whatever it is. Now, I know we've talked about updates for quite a bit, but remember, that's not even the main reason I believe I've enjoyed this game for 10 years. That main reason is why I believe I'll continue to enjoy it despite updates potentially coming to an end. But I'm still not going to reveal that reason yet. First, another very common explanation just about any person would give for why they've enjoyed any game for any stretch of time, and that's friends. Playing with friends is a classic way to get more life out of a game. When you all enjoy it and you know it well, then you can have some fun messing around or doing something incredible. Or maybe you could even introduce a new friend to the game you love so much, which can be very fun in its own right. I'm not going to discuss this at length though, because you've probably heard countless other people talk about how playing with friends can help you enjoy any game anew or again. I really wanted to mention it mostly though because I have always viewed playing with friends as more of a lifeline to your enjoyment, but not a cure to boredom. It seems to me that many people will invite friends to play along because they don't want to let go of their favorite game just yet, but they no longer know what to do with themselves or have found themselves getting bored of it lately. Once those friends are gone, your enjoyment of the game will likely remain the same as it was before you played with friends. So if your friends get bored or move on to another game, then you will likely follow them and abandon the game you no longer know what to do with. So although friends can prolong your enjoyments of any game, it's bound to come to an end once your friends stop playing with you. Of course, I've played Terraria with friends and have done collaborations with other content creators, and it's fun each time, but these are not the reason I keep playing. I still enjoy doing solo runs just as much. What about mods or challenge runs? I guess these could be discussed separately, but they basically serve the same function, changing how you play the game. For mods, they can add a few features here and there to add a little flavor to vanilla, or they can overhaul the entire experience with just as much or even more content than the base game. Before Tmod Loader was released as an official DLC or game or whatever it is on Steam, you would have to go through a third party and install mods yourself. This didn't stop a lot of people from playing modded, but now they have become far more accessible for your average Joe to enjoy, with the only limitation being you have to play on PC. Mods are a great way to get more life out of Terraria. There are so many different mods that you can fill hundreds of hours trying them all out and having loads of fun while doing it. Even some of the mods that are not nearly as interesting as others can still be fun because it's fresh and new, and we humans can't help but love the new shiny things handed to us. There is one part of the modded experience that I believe would allow you to enjoy it even more, but I'll mention that later. Suffice it to say, mods can make the game feel new again, and if you enjoy the base experience, you'll easily be able to find plenty of mods you'll enjoy just as well. Throughout my time playing the game, I've found that I will play a lot of vanilla, and then I'll play a lot of modded, and then go back to vanilla. Alternating between the two allows me to continue to love both. Challenge runs then often force you to play Terraria on a different, unique, or challenging way. The challenge can be as simple as playing on the hardcore difficulty, or as masochistic as defeating the game using only a lawnmower like Sorbet Cafe. Content creators are always trying to think of new challenge runs for that sweet content, but that's not something you necessarily have to do. You can adjust how difficult you want your run to be and cater it to your own skill level. Plus, you don't have an audience watching you who will be upset if you either quit the run or cheat a little bit, whether it be grabbing some gear from a different world or using some mod like cheat sheet if you hit an obstacle you can't surmount. This means your challenge runs are whatever you want them to be and can be as fun as you'd like them to be. Finally, one other reason for my continued enjoyment that isn't the main reason is that I've taken breaks. Now that I'm a content creator, this may be harder to do, but I've actually started a second channel, Thorben Gaming, that'll allow me to do this. Be sure to check out that channel where we talk about all sorts of different games. Breaks are necessary when doing just about anything. I bet you know of at least one song that became so popular that everyone was singing it so much that you started to hate it. Overexposure or oversaturation to anything will inevitably lead to bad results. Over the course of the 10 years I've played Terraria, I'm sure there was at least one period where I took an entire year off the game, if not more. This was likely because I had either grown bored with it at the time, was busy, or wanted to try other games. I honestly can't remember why I took these breaks, how long they were, or how often I took them. I just know that playing other games, or just spending time away from Terraria, allowed me to continue loving it since it prevented oversaturation. Of course, now I'm a Terraria YouTuber and am playing the game way more than I ever have, yet I still love it to death. Sure, it's only about a year since I started, but I don't see myself growing bored of the game anytime soon. I have videos and ideas planned out almost a year in advance already. I don't see this train stopping. And that brings me to my final point, and the single biggest reason I still love Terraria after having played it for 10 years. Stop trying so hard. Now, I did phrase it as though I were advising you as to how to enjoy the game more. I suppose when speaking to myself, it'd be that I don't try so hard or something like that. Regardless, this, I am 100% certain, is the #1 reason I have loved Terraria for a decade and continue to enjoy it today. Thing is, too, I didn't learn that this was the reason until I started what has become my most popular series on the channel, that being 1 Year, 1 World. Check it out, by the way. At the start of 2023, I decided I wanted to do something I had never seen anyone else do before on the platform, and that was play on a single world for an entire year. The objective wasn't even to spend more time on that world than any I had done before, though it'll definitely accomplish that. The primary purpose for the whole experience was to draw out the time it took for me to beat the game in real life. As I say in the intro of every installment of the series, I believe that Terrarians often speedrun the game to Moonlord and never take their time on their worlds. Now, of course, plenty of people take plenty of time on their worlds, though I'm not sure if that's the majority. It's possible I'm projecting my experience onto the populace, but whatever, this is my video. The point is, this challenge made it so I had to take the game at a snail's pace, and after each week, I'd be able to think about and consider what I was going to do the next week. It forced me to think of the game in a radically different way, and not in the same way a challenge run or a mod would. Instead of there being any particular challenge to this idea or even new content to enjoy, it made me engage with all the various mechanics and features the game had that I never even bothered with before. There's plenty of content in this game that you can skip over in every single run and be none the wiser. Despite playing the game for 10 years, there's still weapons, items, accessories, and more that I've never heard of. There's also events that I rarely, if ever, do, especially now that I'm a content creator and I often have to ignore parts of the game I don't need to complete in order to finish runs in a timely manner and make a video. Not to mention the fact that viewers will also likely tune out of parts that are unnecessary. At first, when I started, I thought this idea might make me bored, but I found the opposite to be true. Taking the game slowly and methodically has made my enjoyment of the game so much greater, and I'm excited for every week. But that's not what I said my main point was. I didn't say taking the game slowly was what allowed me to enjoy the game for 10 years, and that's because it's not. Rather, this challenge of playing the game over the course of a year has opened my eyes to why not trying so hard has allowed me to enjoy the game for so long. I am not the very best at this game like no one ever was. I don't have an encyclopedic knowledge of how it works or of all the various goodies I can find. Even the things I do know, I quite often forget because I don't think about it enough to remember. Or I'm slowly losing my memory. I don't make farms, I sometimes don't make arenas or potions. I'll use factually worse weapons because I think they look cool or are fun to use. If I think an item would be annoying to try and get, I ignore it, even if it puts me at a disadvantage. Sometimes this leads to frustration, but that's fine. I'm not going to quit the game because I'm doing something I know is dumb or else suboptimal. And when I do conquer some boss or event using my below average gear or poor excuse for an arena, I feel excited and also a little vindicated since I'm playing the game the way that I want to play it. And guess what? I can play it however I want to and still succeed. Another part of not trying too hard is that I don't read the wiki. I do believe that a person who's new to the game and doesn't have any friends who can show them the ropes should probably use the wiki a fair amount whenever they feel lost, but I haven't used the wiki with any sort of frequency since 1.2. Every here and there I'll forget about something and will quickly look it up, but I'm not searching through all the items in the game to see which ones there are. And I'm not holding the wiki's hand as it tells me how to play the game. This means that I'm constantly learning new things about Terraria, and I'm often surprised by what is in the game. It also means that I'm not treating it like a bucket list. There's nothing I necessarily have to do, and I'm not forcing myself to follow a specific path because it's the most optimal one. Rather, I just do whatever I want to do. Sometimes that leads me down rabbit holes I'd never have even expected. One fun example is that I had no idea NPCs only moved in during the day until maybe a year ago. I simply paid no attention to these smaller details. All I saw was that an NPC had moved in and I was excited that they had. It never occurred to me to consider whether the sun was out or not. I just saw an NPC. Now, maybe that's just because I'm not being very observant, and perhaps that wasn't the best example, but there are plenty of smaller details in the game that you will never notice unless you pay particular attention to them or engage with them frequently. And I'm also not counting certain mechanics that you'll probably only learn about if you watch Terraria. Not reading the wiki comes into play even more when you start fiddling with mods. This is the part of the modded experience that I think will allow you to enjoy it even more that I mentioned earlier. I firmly believe you will enjoy mods more if you don't read the wiki. Now, I also think this only applies to people who are pretty familiar with vanilla, since you should probably have a firm knowledge of the base game before you go wikiless with mods. But I think you'll enjoy them so much more if you don't use the wiki or even YouTube videos about the mod. Let the mod surprise you and, more importantly, miss content. Let yourself fail to engage with everything the mod adds. Because you know what you can do then? You can play the mod again, and it can still feel new and fresh as you explore different aspects of what the mod may have added. You could even make the first run a totally blind normal run, doing what you would normally do in vanilla and then playing with whatever modded toys you encounter along the way. Once you have an understanding of it, you can return for a second run where you start pushing the boundaries and dig deeper into what it offers. There's boundless opportunities to experience Terraria anew by doing blind runs. Only using the wiki when absolutely necessary, or perhaps dedicating yourself to not using it at all and forcing yourself to fully explore everything possible, I think is the best way to experience it. Now, before I wrap up the video, I also wanted to mention that the creators of Terraria are also a reason many people still love the game, and another reason I still love the game. They're so absolutely fantastic, but I'll be talking about that a bit more in a video next month, so that's why I'm not really talking about it that much here, but it is a reason that I continue to enjoy it. The creators are just a lot of fun, and they really make the game feel fun themselves. It doesn't feel like a AAA game. It doesn't feel like a big company that's producing something for us. It just feels like some friends who created something. We can pitch them ideas, and sure enough, a lot of them get added. Now, of course, plenty of people enjoy Terraria for different reasons. Some people just have that masochistic fire in their bellies that make them want to take on the hardest challenge, making them research the most optimal ways to conquer the game. Some people enjoy trying to make the game break and finding ways to become absolutely overpowered. Some people don't want to have to deal with not knowing what they are supposed to do and need the wiki lifeline, or else they'll give up in frustration, which I certainly have in the past. There's plenty of other reasons to love the game, and perhaps they can be just as enduring as my own reason. But I'm not here to give some cop-out answer like, everyone has their own reason to enjoy the game, so do that. I am here to give you what I believe is the best way for most people to enjoy Terraria for as long as physically possible. And if you don't believe me, perhaps you should try the same challenge as me, playing on one world for an entire year. That challenge has given me a greater appreciation for this game, and I have enjoyed it more and more ever since. And remember what I said about challenge runs. The great thing about them is that you can change them however you want to suit your needs. You don't have to do exactly what I'm doing. But step back, take a breath, and smell every 2D pixel art rose along your path. And maybe you will find out how to enjoy this game for as long as I have.